How's it going, YouTube? This is John with Helm, Woodshop, and Smithy. Yesterday you watched me get these pieces of cable welded up and ready to forge weld, turn into a billet, and that's what we're going to do today. So you can see these pieces of cable, as is usually the case, they're caked with oil and dirt, and they have rust all over them, and forge scale from where I welded the ends off. All of these things are going to be an impedance to you having a clean forge weld. So the first thing that we need to do is get this all cleaned up. Now I've seen people soak it in vinegar or diesel fuel. I've even seen people who put it in a parts cleaner. I don't have any of those things, and I really just don't feel that they're necessary. So what I'm going to do is get these up nice and hot in the forge. We're going to untwist them so everything is exposed, bang them off real good, brush them real hard with a nice stiff bristled wire brush. Then we're going to throw them back in the forge, borax all over it this time. Then when it gets hot, we're going to twist it back shut, flux it again with more borax, back into the forge to forge welding temp, and then we're going to twist it up here in the leg vise. Alright, we got the forge lit. We're going to go ahead and get this first one red hot. You're going to want to try to keep your fire real clean this whole process. So if you have a coal forge, you want to make sure to remove any of your clinkers before you get it lit. I've used the charcoal here, so I had to go through and clean out all the ash, clean out the crap in the bottom so we have good airflow. You want to set everything up as well as you can to try to increase your chances of having a really good weld. Also, it's important to have an appropriate pair of tongs for the task. If you can't hold this red hot piece of metal, you cannot work it. You want an even orangish heat for this first part. Chuck it in your vise nice and tight, and just try to uncoil it. Get all this straight. What you're trying to do is expose all those fibers on the inside. Now putting it in the forge will burn off most of the dirt and oil, but you still have some gunk you need to get out of there. Try to get as much scale off of this thing as possible. Brushing, just like forging, is done best at the top of your heat when it's as hot as you can get it. So you want to work quickly. Don't rush, of course, because that's how you screw up and burn yourself. Now, we've got all that off. I'm going to add a little bit of flux. This is just borax, 12 Mule Team borax. I believe I got this at Home Depot. Cheap, easily available, and it works well. You want to flux it real well. And as you put it on the hot steel, it melts. It works through a capillary action. It'll get down in all the little crooks and crevices and creases. So we're going to get that there. And then, if you still have enough heat, not a bad idea to try to twist it back up. All right, I'm going to put it back in the forge. So we're looking for that white hot heat, which we have here. We have a little bit of sparks, which is a good sign we got it up to heat, but it's not good for the steel. It means I'll probably burn out some of the carbon. That's all right. We'll just go ahead and get it twisted nice and tight so that it's ready at the next heat. Okay, so putting the whole thing in and trying to get an even heat wasn't working out. What happened was I got the middle way too hot before the ends got hot enough. So what I'm going to do this time is I'm gonna try to heat up one side, forge weld that, flip it around, heat up the other side, forge weld that, and then heat up the middle, and hopefully it works out. Alright, we got a nice welding heat. I'm gonna start with light taps. And twist it as you hammer in the direction that the cable is twisted, so that you're actually sticking it together tighter. You're not just loosening it up. There we go. You can feel as you hammer on it, and you can probably hear as well, that when you first start, it sounds soft, it feels soft. But as it welds together, it turns into a harder and harder and harder piece of steel. So now we're going to brush this, flux it, give another couple welding heats on that end, and we'll move our way down. And one. Alright, that's a nice welding heat. See, notice I started off with real light blows, and as it gets stuck together, you increase how hard you hammer it. So like now, you can see we're no longer white hot. So any more hammering that I do on this isn't going to forge weld, it's just going to forge it out further. And we're not trying to draw this out yet, we're trying to get into one solid piece before we ever worry about that. So you just continue this process over and over. I like to give each section of a forge weld 3 to 4 welding heats, depending on how well it sticks together. And if you're welding up a regular Damascus billet, that is usually more than enough, but for some reason, welding cable has completely eluded me, so I think I'm going to give it an extra one just to be safe. Alright, you can see here in the middle where I burnt the outside fibers during the initial forge weld. They're not connected to the fibers at the bottom anymore, and because of that, this whole area is just cold shut city. We're never going to get that into one solid piece of steel to make a knife with. So what I'm going to do is hot cut this off. This piece here looks like it's going to be fine. I'll go ahead and give it another couple of welding heats, forge it into a square. You're always going to have some little tiny cold shuts and laminations all the way around the very surface of it. So don't forge it down too much when you're putting it into a square, because those are all going to have to get ground off. Since they're never going to stick, if you keep forging it down, you're just going to forge those cold shuts deeper and deeper into your billet, and you definitely don't want to do that. Alright, so I'm just going to cut this off with my bottom cut chisel. Fits around the hardy hole. Just made that out of a railroad spike. It's not the best, but it gets the job done. Good to make it out of something cheap and available, because you're going to be resharpening it regularly, but you can see it gives you a nice clean cut. So we will brush, flux, reheat, try to forge weld that end down, then we'll go into a square and grind it. Yep, well I can see that this end, it just ain't sticking. I'm going to have to cut that piece off too. So I guess I would say this attempt wasn't a complete failure, but it wasn't far from it. That's the beauty of metalworking though. No matter how many tiny pieces of metal you have, you can't forge weld them all together and make one nice piece of steel. That's what I got. That. Cool. Maybe I can make a keychain or something. Alright, so this has had some time to cool off and I can inspect it now. You can see some small delaminations. I believe that those are mostly just on the surface, so they should grind out. It's not the piece of steel that I was hoping to get out of that cable, but it is a piece of steel nonetheless. And I know what went wrong with it. so I can avoid it from happening next time. I have that brick enclosure on there, which is handy when you're trying to heat up a really heavy piece of steel, like a hammer billet or an axe. And so I thought that it would help keep all the heat consolidated and make this forge weld go easier, but what it did is limit where in the fire I can place the cable. So because of that, I heated up the middle way too hot. It wound up melting a lot of the cable on the outside. You have to remember when you heat these that it's not a heavy, solid piece of metal, so it doesn't heat like them. It's a bunch of tiny pieces of metal that are all wrapped together, so it has an enormous surface area. It's very easy to overheat the outside and not the inside because of that. So I need to turn the blower on lower, heat it slower, more evenly, and also I'm going to start at one end and work my way down instead of trying to heating the whole thing up. When I stuck it in right on top of the tweer, the middle was getting blasted, and I was judging the temperature by the ends. So it looked like it was cool, and then I pull it out, and the middle was all melted away, and that ultimately resulted in me ruining a majority of the cable. So lesson learned, next time will go better, and hope you'll join me then as well.